Welcome back to my kitchen. Today is going to be a little bit of an interesting day. I did have my Sunbasket delivery. It was supposed to come on Monday. It was delayed until Tuesday, and by the time I did get my delivery, all of the protein needed to be tossed because it's 90 degrees here in Vegas and it must have sat in a hot place. So all of the protein needed to be tossed. The vegetables and everything else are fine. The one great thing about Sunbasket is I did call them and let them know that this was an issue, and they immediately refunded the entire basket. So I'm kind of digging in and using some other stuff that I've got in my freezer for the proteins, which is fine. One of the things that I'm doing really today that's going to be a little bit different is I'm supposed to make a braised chicken with carrots, turnips, and thyme. It sounds lovely, but it's 90 degrees outside and I have no desire to eat a hot meal. So this week I'm going to take all of the meals that have been provided and try and turn them into a cold dish. So the first thing that I thought of is possibly creating a chicken salad dish. So I'm making it in the afternoon so it's got time to be refrigerated and cool down, so it's going to be a nice chicken salad for dinner tonight, but that means I have to prepare everything in the afternoon so it's got time to sit. And typically I've never used root vegetables in a chicken salad. So this is going to be interesting. I am going to go ahead and roast the vegetables with the chicken before I start preparing everything. Hopefully that'll add another layer of flavor for the chicken salad, something a little bit different, and we'll see how that works out. I've got a baking dish, kind of a deep baking dish. It's about maybe 3 inches deep. I've lined it with foil so it makes the cleanup much easier. I had a couple of frozen chicken breasts. I just threw in there, put some oil, salt, and pepper on both sides. I'll let them roast at the same time with the vegetables. So I've got the carrots and the turnips cut up into bite-sized pieces that I think would be about what you would want while you're eating chicken salad. I went ahead and used my deli containers. I always say keep the deli containers because they are fabulous for things. So we've got the turnips and the carrots. I'm just going to put some oil in. And they did send some sweet smoked paprika. I'll go ahead and throw that in there because we might as well season these vegetables while they're going. Into the detritus bag, some dried thyme. Go ahead and throw that in there. Take the lid, put it on. Give it a good shake. So after I started shaking it, I realized I didn't put salt and pepper in, so I went ahead and put the salt and pepper back in, gave it another couple shakes. One of the things about using the deli container this way is to ensure that the oil and all of the herbs and spices are evenly distributed around the vegetables. And that way, it's just easy cleanup. So we'll go ahead and put the vegetables on one side and kind of lay them out, get them as even as I can. I have absolutely no idea how long this is going to take to cook. So I've got my oven set at 375 on the roasting feature. I think the chicken's gonna take a little bit longer, but that's okay. So we'll go ahead and pop this in the oven. There we go. I'll check that in about 10 minutes because I still want the vegetables to stay firm and have a bit of a bite to them without getting mushy when you mix them up, because we do want the texture as well. So now I will start prepping the other things that I'm going to put in my chicken salad, and I'll get a new deli container and stick this in the dishwasher. As I'm prepping what I've got left over, I realized this dish might turn into some kind of a weird hybrid between a Waldorf chicken salad and a traditional chicken salad. So we'll just have to see how it goes. One of the things that I wanted to include was some grapes, because I've got some grapes that need to be used. And I've never sliced them this way before, but I always do this with my cherry tomatoes. So what I did is I went ahead and put the grapes inside the deli lid, and I've taken another deli lid, and you could just hold it like a little sandwich, take your knife, go in between and just slice right through. Get careful when you come to your fingers. But then you take the lid off and you have a whole thing of perfectly sliced in half grapes instead of having to do them one or two at a time, which is typically what you do. So I've got some celery, a little bit of the onion that they sent, some grapes that I needed to use. I've got some cranberries I'm going to throw in here, and I also found some dried blueberries, which I think will be really good. We'll just put that in there, and then I think I'm going to put in some cashews because I love cashews in chicken salad. So this is all done, set aside. I just checked the vegetables, they're not quite there yet. I'm thinking maybe another 5 minutes and they'll be good to go. I was going to throw the deli container I used for the vegetables in the dishwasher, but then I thought that was stupid because I need to pull the vegetables out before I pull the chicken out. So I'm saving this. I'll put the vegetables back in here and keep the lid off to try and get them cool. Stick it in the fridge. Then when the chicken's done and cool, we'll go ahead and start assembling. The root vegetables are done. Oh, that's my oven telling me that the door is open. Just going to take them out. So they're just cooked. So they've got a bite a little bit softer than celery, I would say. They're firm. They're still got their shape, but they're not raw by any means. Oops, come on, little guys, get back here. But of course, they do need to be cool slightly before you can assemble this thing, and the chicken is nowhere close. So I'll probably put the chicken in. I've got it set at 375 right now. I think I'll turn the oven up to maybe 400, 425. Just give these a little flip while they're out. Because I do want them to cook, but I don't want them to be dry, of course. We'll get these back in the oven. Check on them in about 15 minutes. There we go. If I was going to pull the chicken or shred the chicken, I might have cooked the chicken a little bit differently, either in some kind of a chicken broth or something, so that it was more of a poached chicken to keep it so that it's easier to shred. But I don't want to deal with shredding chicken, so I'm just going to slice it up into bite-sized pieces about the same size as the vegetables that I've already cut. So there's a uniformity in terms of when you bite into your sandwich, that everything's the same size and nothing is too overwhelming or too much versus anything else, because I do want it to be balanced. So we'll let the chicken cook for about another 15 minutes. While the chicken is finishing, I decided to go ahead and work on the dressing with what I've got here. Normally chicken salad is made with a lot of mayo or Miracle Whip or whatever you like. But I want to keep it a little bit lighter, so I'm only going to use just a couple spoonfuls of mayo and replace the majority of the mayo with yogurt. Now I wish I had a Greek style yogurt that's thicker, but since I don't, and this is what I have, that's what I'm using. It's just a plain low-fat yogurt. I've got some regular Dijon mustard. Not a whole lot left in here, but we'll go ahead and use what I've got. Put some of that in, and that's about done. I'll put in some deli mustard, which is like a stone ground kind of mustard. Oh, look, that's almost done too. I guess those need to also go on the list. All right. A little bit of white wine vinegar, not too much, but enough, just a few sprinkles. I'll go ahead and take the parsley that was sent and just rip it up, and then everything can get blended together. I'm not going to put any salt and pepper in here just yet until I can taste it and see what it needs. I've got this little Cuisinart thing that I use for lots of stuff. Sounds good. surprisingly good. I don't know, that's probably maybe a cup and a half of dressing. Hopefully that's enough, but it is what it is at this point. And we'll set that aside. I'll get the chicken out and let it start cooling, and then we'll cut it up and assemble everything together now that it's done. Chicken stayed nice and moist. It's all cut up into bite-sized pieces, just about the same size that I did the vegetables. Put that in my bowl. Hopefully my bowl's big enough. Looks like we're gonna have lots of leftovers. The root vegetables, go ahead and dump those in. And to make the mixing just a little bit easier, I'll put some of the dressing in right now. So it's kind of in the middle. Give it a little stir. There we go. Again, this is stuff from my pantry, with the exception of the onion that they sent. Little celery, finely chopped onion, the grapes that we cut in half, some cranberries, and some dried blueberries. Hopefully the blueberries will dehydrate, or moisten up so they're not so hard once they sit in a little bit of the liquid. Give it a little bit of a stir. Sure hope this tastes good, or else I guess we'll be using Uber Eats or something tonight for dinner. But it should be all right. All right, and a little more dressing. I don't want to put it all in right in the beginning, just because I don't want it to be too moist. Give it a little stir. And I did say I was going to put some cashews in, so what I did is I put the cashews into a baggie. And you can use a rolling pin, you can use whatever, but I just use whatever's handy, which happens to be my salt shaker. And because my cashews were whole cashews, and I don't want to have a great big huge cashew in the bites, and I wanted it to be a bit more pieces. So again, I don't measure anything ever, which is how I cook. Give it a stir. There we go. And again, like I said, this is probably some weird, funky combination of a Waldorf chicken salad and a traditional chicken salad. I think primarily because of the addition of the grapes and the fruit. That looks pretty good, but I do want it to be just a little more moist, so I think the amount of dressing I've got here is going to be just about perfect, because everything should absorb just a little bit of the moisture from the dressing. So even if it's a little bit loose right now, it should firm up by the time we're ready to have dinner. All right, there we go. Again, I'm not really planning on putting any extra salt and pepper or any extra herbs in here, because I do want it to have a chance to get cold. And again, if you're going to serve something cold, the amount of seasoning is probably going to be a little bit more than what you're used to, because it will lose some of its flavor as it gets colder. But just for now, because I am hungry too, I'm going to take a little taste. Wow, that's pretty good. I think that's going to be a pretty fabulous dinner tonight. So we'll go ahead and stick this in the fridge, let it get cold, let it marinate. What time is it right now? It's almost 1 o'clock. That means I need to start making lunch. And we'll see what this tastes like for dinner later on tonight. Time to assemble and see how it tastes. I had a couple of leftover deli rolls in a package that are not green yet, so I'm going to go ahead and use them. They're a little teeny tiny bit dry, so I'm going to lather them with just a little bit of the mayo. Get that on there. All right, we'll cross our fingers. And I have some romaine lettuce left over, because after all, this is a healthy dish, right? I'm a little bit nervous about root vegetable chicken salads since it's something I've never done before. But hey, desperate times, right? Load some of this up. Again, it's got grapes and cranberries and blueberries and chicken and cashews and carrots and turnips with a yogurt dressing. Okay, that's a good sign. I'm gonna give it a little sprinkle of some coarse kosher salt. All right, let's see. Squish it together. Oh, I'm hoping this tastes good because I don't have any backup alternatives for dinner. Wow, that is surprisingly good. The turnips and carrots, I mean, you can taste them so you know that they're there, but it doesn't taste particularly weird in a chicken salad. And it's nice because it's cold and it's still 85 degrees outside right now and it's 6:30. So we'll go ahead and have dinner outside. And I'm happy because we got our wine delivery. Since all of the alcohol stores are closed, they've opened up to delivery. So big shout out to Total Wine in getting our alcohol delivered. So I won't go completely crazy before this is all over with. But yeah, totally surprising that you could take a hot meal and turn it into a cold dish for a hot day without a recipe. So this is what I love about these meals is if you can just think outside the box just a little bit and don't be afraid to not follow the recipe, you can really have some really great epic meals and you can have some really great epic fails, but it doesn't matter because it's all fun. It's food, you're cooking, you're doing what you like to do, and don't be intimidated. Till next time. See you later.